Sorry.
No, we're good. Got a couple minutes still.
I know. Do I need the list of questions?
I will read them off. I mean,
Okay.
if you want them for your own like comfort, I mean, you can 100% pull them up, but I have them and I'll read them before, obviously, I ask them.
Sure, that's fine. I had to turn off my my remote access to my work computer because it dings and I don't know how to undo it, so I just turned it off completely. So I'm just on this video through the internet. Plus, my work blocked it, so I wasn't able to get through it through the remote through work.
Oh, okay.
Dylan, would you like us to mute ourselves until we speak or no?
You guys are good because when I start asking the questions, I mean, I was going to announce this in a little bit, but once I start like asking questions, you guys are able, I'm not going to call on you personally. You guys are able to just kind of answer as you feel, necessary and, go whenever you'd like. I mean, I'm not going to go down the list because, maybe not everyone has something to say. So that is 100% fine if you guys, you can mute yourself, but it doesn't. It is fine if you don't.
Sounds good.
So how many people on the panel do we have?
My list says about 10. Trying to, it looks like more people are jumping in now. So I'm omitting a few more people, but we will start literally in about a minute here. Okay. All right. I got my question. Yep, we'll wait one more minute. Wait to see if anybody else jumps in. Mr. Turner, are you able to admit people or do I have to?
I can admit them.
Okay, do you mind doing that?
I can admit them as well.
Okay, because I keep like clicking to admit people, but then it gets rid of the questions and I have to go back and find them again, and
Yep,
I just
we got you,
someone
bud.
else can do it. Okay. Okay, we'll just wait for that one more person to get admitted, and then we can start. Okay, is everybody ready to go? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dylan Zelinsky. I will be your panel discussion moderator today. During this time with the COVID-19 pandemic and without having our normal technical career day, we here at the Atlas team in work-based learning still felt it was necessary to get out the information to students that are interested in the art field. So right now we'll just ask you to go around and say your name and the company of which you work for. And we'd also like to let you know that we are recording this, and Mr. Turton will have the link and will also be on the Atlas team YouTube. So let's start this off, and we will start with Lindsay Kranz. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yes, that's how you
Okay.
pronounce it. Yeah.
We can start with you.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Lindsay Kranz. I am a museum educator from the Albright-Knox Art Gallery, and I have been there for close to 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything more you want us to say?
Just where you work and who you are and a bit about yourself if you want to, but that was perfect. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Kortney Connell, is that? Kortney? Okay. Mary Kozub.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Kozub. I'm a museum education manager at the Burchfield Penney Art Center. I've been there for about 12 years. That came at as a second career because I spent 36 years teaching art at Alden.
Thank you very much. Deanna Kocher.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need to unmute. Awesome. So I am a graduate student at Cornell, and I'm in mechanical engineering, but my background is in product design, furniture design, and engineering.
Thank you. Heather Tooley. Heather. Okay. Emily Shriver. Emily. Okay. How about Gabriel Buck?
Hi, that's me.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm Gabe. I work at Perry's Ice Cream. I'm the employment brand and recruitment specialist. But I do a little bit of HR and a little bit of marketing. So that's what I do.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Valerie Kasinski. That's sorry.
You
That's
got it. Yeah, Valerie Kasinski.
Oh, all right.
So my name is Val. I'm the owner of Valerie Kasinski Photography. I graduated at Alden in 2009, and yeah, I've been doing wedding photography for 5 years now. So
That's awesome. Thank you. Sara Cometto.
Hi, I'm Sara, Cometto. I think most of you know me. I'm the elementary art teacher here at Alden. I've been an art teacher for over 22 years now, and thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming. Maybeth Zacher.
Hi, I'm Maybeth Zacher-Bucko. I have been with Alden for 25 years, teaching a total of 29. Hi, all my friends who said hello. Mary, it's nice to see you. We live near each other. We don't see each other ever. So looking forward to hearing what these amazing people have to say and share. Thank you again for your time today.
Yes, thank you. Is there any, that is my list, but is there anyone that I forgot?
Dana.
Yes. Hi, I'm a later addition. My name is Dana. I'm the Marketing and Community Development Coordinator for Buffalo Art Studio, which means I do marketing and outreach and PR for BAS, which is a mid-sized arts nonprofit. I'm also a professional artist, creator, and writer in addition to that.
That is awesome. Thank you. So is there anybody else I forgot or forgot to mention?
Hi there. I'm Amanda Polanski. And I have my own studio that I do colored pencil drawings at. I, sell at Allentown Art Festival, Lewiston, all the big shows around here. So I do colored pencil drawings, and I'm also a 2004 graduate of Alden.
That is really cool. I did hear one more person start to speak up. I'm sorry.
How you doing? This is Michael Best. I'm an 88 grad of Alden High School. Packaging director for a printing company in Buffalo for 22 years, and now I'm been at Yancey's Fancy Artisan Cheese Company for the past 2 years.
Thank you very much. Seems like we got a lot of Alden grads. So before we get into questions, I would just like to say there's a good amount of people here. I think there's about 10, and we do want to get through everybody and hear through like everybody. So if you can just keep your answers 30 seconds, and then same thing to students in here or anybody that has questions, you can put them in the chat. And yeah, so let's get started. I will ask the first question, and then whenever you just want to chime in. So our first question for you guys is, please tell us a little bit about your path to your current position and why you decided to take valuable time out of your day to share your career-related advice with high school students.
Well, I'll start. I had a mother who felt I should be a secretary, as most mothers did in the 1960s, but I decided to go to college for art, which was so foreign to my family. However, I knew there'd be a job at the end of that path, and not only was there one job, but I had the privilege of working at 3 incredible places. The Albright-Knox Art Gallery was my first job, Alden my second, and now at the Burchfield Penney Art Center. So follow your passion is what I would suggest for any high school student to do.
That is really good advice. Thank you. next?
I'll go next. Hi. Like Mary, I am also a former classroom art teacher. Although I had the littles, I had kindergarten through 5th grade. And it's funny because everyone always told me growing up I would be a teacher because my mother was a classroom teacher. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be a teacher. And then you get to college, and oftentimes that's where you really discover. I was always into art, so I was like, oh, I'll go to school for art. And then I realized I also had a passion for teaching. So went through and I taught little kiddos down in the state of Florida, and then moved back to New York because New York is cool, and got my job at the Albright-Knox and have been there ever since.
That is awesome. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I'll go. Just hello to Lindsay. Lindsay's my former colleague at the Albright-Knox. I went to school for drawing and painting at SUNY Fredonia. So again, like I very much follow in the follow your passions footsteps. And then I got my master's degree from UB in visual studies. And from there, I really realized I enjoyed writing and art history and critical thinking. And that's how I started to branch out into curating and writing on a freelance basis. And it's really opened a lot of doors. So what I would say to anyone, any students interested in going in a career in the arts, is be really honest about what you're passionate about, but also be open to possibilities and see where things lead you. Because I never thought I'd work in marketing in the arts.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And thank you for the advice. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
Yeah, I'll share. I actually started, I graduated from college in 2018. So I graduated from high school in 2014, and I started going to college to be an event planner. I started in hospitality. I wanted to be a wedding and large event planner, and I soon realized that really was not for me. And I had a minor in marketing, and I loved marketing. So I ended up 2 years into my program switching into marketing. And while I was there, I interned at Perry's Ice Cream in marketing and HR, and loved the company and loved both HR and marketing and getting to do both of them. And then once that ended, when I graduated college, I worked at an advertising agency, and now I'm back at Perry's. I just started back in January, but definitely, you know, your path will go all over the place, but you can just follow it wherever you want. I've been kind of all over the place and back around again. So
thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
Well, I'd like to tag on that. I went to school at UB for 4 years, came out with a art degree in painting, and it was during the recession in 2008. So I did not have a job in art, and I still technically do not have an actual job in art. It's just something I do on the side. So right now I'm actually a workers' claim adjuster. So I process workers' comp claims all day, and on the side at night, on the weekends, I have my art as my side thing. So it is still possible to do your art and have a different actual job. But that's, I mean, you get what you get, I guess.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I can share.
Okay, thank you.
So I graduated in 2009, and it was actually Ms. Zacher, one of my art teachers, that inspired me and to show me that an artistic career was actually possible. I was that kid that took every art class I could in high school, and I pretty much lived in that room.
I'm dancing. I don't know if I have my camera on.
Yeah, and so I actually went to college for graphic design, and it wasn't until 2 years into that I realized, okay, I love this, but I also really love photography. So I actually switched career paths, and I don't know, I just say, like, with the artistic career, it's hard because, you know, people look at you like, oh, can you actually make it with it? But a lot of hard work comes with that. So I switched to a passion that I felt like wholeheartedly, and now I'm here. And so it's just a lot of hard work. You just really got to work for it if you want it. So it's going good, and I'm happy to be here to help anyone. So
Yeah, thank you for that. Is there anybody else who would like to answer?
I can speak up really fast because I had a slightly different route. I took just like Val, took every single art class at Alden High School with Mary Kozub years ago in the 90s. And then though, I actually went to school, not a lot of people know this, I was studying pre-med at Geneseo for a number of years and taking all the painting and all the art history and all the ceramics classes just for fun on top of my pre-med stuff. And then I was just like, sorry for any math teachers, like just the thought of going all the way up to Calc 4, like I love the science, I love the organic chem, but Calc 4 and Physics 4, I was like, why? When like I sat there and loved every single moment of art history and of painting. So finally, like at the end of my junior year, I was like, oh gosh, nope, I need to switch paths right this very minute. And I switched to Foley art, and I had also taught like the summer rec programs at Alden, all the little kids, and was just like, you know what? I like making art with little kids, and I love painting and looking at art, and I think I'm doing that instead. So it was kind of a roundabout, and luckily it worked out. It worked out really well. So it was a different path, and I'm here today because it's kind of neat to be able to talk with all my students and see all these amazing artists in our own community, like all these great connections. So thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. Is there anybody else who would like to add on?
I can jump in just real quick because I think I had a similar experience to Mrs. Cometto, but slightly earlier, different timing. I actually, going into my college program, I was always really artistic. I didn't take all the classes at Alden because I didn't have time with all of my AP and math classes. So I went into an engineering program that was specifically designed to be interdisciplinary. And so I was able to do all of the engineering that I loved, but also get into furniture design and do very similar coursework to the product designers. And so now it's a really integral part of what I do now, even though I'm in an engineering program. A lot of what I do is how do you design products that kids want to play with and make it functional in an engineering sense.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? If not, we can move on to the second question. Okay, let's move on to the second question. The second question is, what is it like to be in the art field today with all the different technology in today's world?
Well, I'll speak because I'm still working at the museum, and we have switched everything to an online platform. The technology is certainly here at the right time during this incredible, horrific age we're living in. However, we are all exploring how to stay present in the world, to have to be valid in the world, to provide a service, which museums, of course, do. They feed one's soul. They are what's the word I'm struggling to find? They preserve culture and they create culture in a community, as well as support. Our museum in particular supports local artists, as some other museums in the area does as well. But that is our mission, to support the artists, the authors, the dancers, the poets, etc., musicians in the Buffalo community. And so how do we maintain our mission? How do we continue to serve the community? And thank goodness for technology, because it does make it possible.
Thank you. Is there anyone else would like to add to that?
I'll jump in. Just to piggyback off that, so Buffalo Art Studio is a mid-sized arts nonprofit that has space for studio artists who work in our space. We have exhibition space. We also have education space. And technology really allows us to connect with the people that comprise these different slices of our community. Especially now, it allows us to highlight the work of our studio artists, the work of our students, and the work of our amazing exhibiting artists that we've had for the last 30 years. We recently launched Project Create, which is an online distance learning program. So that's been really beneficial to help us connect with our students again and make sure they're still getting arts education in their daily lives, even with everything that's going on.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to add?
I'll hop in. Just throwing this out there to all the high school students, it's worthwhile learning about all the technology that you can, because all of a sudden my colleagues and I, we are not just museum educators, but now we're needing to know how to do videography and editing videos and taking photos and making sure that they are quality enough for the website and everything. And we're doing it all out of our homes. So we're needing to use all this technology that when you're in person and you're interacting in a museum space, you not necessarily have to use. So it's really like technology is really, as my colleagues have said, that it's just kind of saving us right now. We're able to interact with the community. We're able to interact with the public because of the internet, but also trying to use all these different things in technology is definitely, it's a huge learning curve right now and lots of fun.
For sure, for sure. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to piggyback or add on?
I can jump in for a quick second. One thing that I'm really loving about the time we're living in is the ability to connect. So like when I'm online or like on Instagram or like on another like art site, I can actually talk to art teachers. I was like, you know, commenting with an art teacher that teaches in Germany right now and is dealing with the same situation we are. There were teachers from the UK, art teachers there, that were talking about like the lessons that they're doing with their students and how their schools are reopening. So I just think that this is an amazing time to not just talk to like people right here around us, but to collaborate around the world. Also, you know, you can now see like so many people are so willing to share, you know, from our teacher standpoint, all their ideas and their lessons and actually like comment and give you tips and tricks that you never would have talked to. And with the way things are, it's so easy to learn. So I can like jump on a skill share, if you guys know that site, and I can learn how to do a painting. I can go on the Art of Education and take a class on how to do more stuff with acrylic paints. Somebody just sent me a link if I wanted to learn more about like photoshopping and creating like more digital art. And that wouldn't have been available to me when I first started out. It's just I mean, you can learn from anybody now, and they're so willing to teach you, which is cool.
That is really cool. Thank you for that. Anybody else would like to add on?
Sure.
Well, I love that I create art and I post like my process online. So like as I'm doing a piece, I'll take pictures of it and I'll post it on my Instagram or my Facebook page. And it's awesome to see people that have seen that on my Instagram page. They'll come to me at like one of the art shows that I'm at and they're like, oh, that's the piece. I saw that. It was awesome to watch you create that. Like, it's just a great feeling. They're like, oh, it's so much better in person than the pictures, but it's like, it was cool to see how you got to that point. And I know I love watching that in other artists because I follow a ton of them on Instagram, and you know, it's cool to watch the process of other artists' work. It gives you ideas. It gives you just like a connection with other people. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm the president of the Alden Lancaster Art Club, and we have artists come in every month. They do a demo, and it's always cool to see that. So it's nice to be able to see that all the time. You know, anytime I log on to any of my, you know, accounts, I can go through and I can see how other people are doing something. Oh, I never thought to try, you know, painting that way or drawing that way or using that. And a lot of times there's artists that are actually, what are the word for it? They're, they present different brands. They're like a, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word right now. But you know what I mean? They represent those brands, and they'll show you like their new products. So it's really cool because you don't always get to see that unless you actually physically are able to go into a store sometimes and look at something. And then even then, sometimes you're like, well, what is that? I don't know what that is. And now with all this, it's like, oh, that's a cool new tool. I'm going to have to go out and get that. And it's just great to be able to see all that and know that there's a bigger world out there and that everybody has their own style, but you can all learn from each other all the time. So even after school, it's a great way to keep learning.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to add on? I'm pretty sure I heard someone try to jump in the same time Amanda did.
Yeah, this is Mike. So I can actually attest to the technology firsthand. So as we're actually sitting here talking, I am virtually directing a photo shoot with a food photographer who's over in Amherst. We started to do work on our website, and unfortunately, this whole COVID thing happened, and we still had to keep things on track for our schedule. So we send product over to him, already cut up, sanitized, ready to go. He sets them up in his studio at his home, sends me pictures via email, and I drop them into the layouts virtually, make my markups. I shoot a text of my screen, send it back to him with comments. And I'm actually doing that while we're sitting here. So that was not possible, not that long ago. I'm old enough to know film and used to run a photostat camera and some different things that the technology is greatly advanced and making things possible that, just people couldn't do a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for
Mike.
that.
Hey, Mike, don't knock that film. I'm still using it. And I know we started in our graphic design careers doing paste up, so don't knock that either. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
I heard somebody else was trying to come in when Mike did. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, I just want to jump in quickly on a different side of like technology and art and design, because most of what I do is 3D, and so like 3D printing, I actually was just finishing up taking something off my 3D printer right before this meeting. 3D printing, laser cutting, CNC routers, all of this stuff has made like huge impact on the way that I can do my work. Like right now, I'm looking at using thin layers of 3D print to stitch into fabric to give my robot a fabric shell that still looks solid and can take some weight. And laser cutting in terms of woodworking, CNC routing, it makes it possible to do a whole different number of joints and types of joinery that you can do in furniture. And it's really just changed the way that you can prototype and how fast you can get through the design process with all of this stuff available to us.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that has anything to say on this topic or question?
I could chime in real quick.
Yeah, thank you.
So technology, my career wouldn't exist without it, photographer. So, things are different now. I still love film. I don't get to do it as often, but it's, the difference between film and now digital, everything's instant. I get to use editing software. Instead of snail mail, I get to spread my art through online, social media. So technology literally is, what I use every day in my career, every hour. So I wouldn't be here without it.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else that would like to jump in or add anything, or we can move on to the next question? Okay, looks like we will move on to the next question. The next question is, why did you decide to go into the art field when it's considered a tough or hard business to get into?
Well, for me, there was nothing else but art. And so I don't think I knew it would be a career, but it ended up being a wonderful career. But there was no option for me.
That is awesome. Thank you.
I
Is there anyone else?
kind of echo that. Like, I feel as though it's really cliche. I feel like I was called to be in the arts. Like, I was always like the creative kid in high school. I took the AP studio and all that. And my passion was really drawing and painting. But from there, as an undergrad, like, you kind of go in and you suddenly realize there's this whole other dimension to art making and learning about art. And it kind of it became the thing for me. There was nothing else.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Say that, just to echo both Mary and Dana, it really is, when you're going into the arts, it's a passion. You really, if you love it, what you end up doing with it, you'll be happy. And so it's really a passionate, like I went to school for art because it's what I love and it's what I could see myself doing.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Or we
To
can-
go right off, Lindsay said, Lindsay, I was going to say almost the exact same thing. I think I would hope most people are like this with their careers, but for art, it's like you truly do love it. You're truly passionate about it. Like you go on vacations and you go to art museums. Like on your weekends, you start to doodle and draw. Like whatever you do for your job, that's what you love and you live and breathe, and you see a new idea and you get excited about it. Like it's still exciting after all these years. So it's because you love it and you're passionate about it.
Thank you for that. Is there anybody else that would like to add on?
I would tag on to what Mrs. Cometto just said, and there's a pull that happens. And like so many people on this panel, I was pulled towards the arts, design in particular. I started out as an engineering major, Dana, and or Deanna, and wound up calling home to my parents and telling them, I just applied to the art department because I can't do this engineering math stuff anymore. I want to get my hands in clay. I want to paint. I want to do it all. And it was good. I mean, 30 years later, I'm thrilled that I'm doing it. One of the great things, I like to try and flip this time. One of the great things about this time, Mrs. Cometto mentioned the fact that with technology, we have so much to learn. I am looking at so many different things. I've taken different courses. I'm doing a lot of watercoloring. I don't know, it's probably just on my feed that these courses come up. And so I'm enjoying it because there's so much you can do and experience. So I definitely think it's a pull, and it's certainly defined passion. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I would like to add one other thing, even though I already spoke, I know, but
You're
I
fine.
think it's a false narrative to suggest that there are not jobs in art when every single thing in this world that is manufactured, produced, has been touched by an artist somewhere along the way. And maybe we're not defining it in that narrow world of a fine artist or someone who's going to paint and sell their paintings on the sidewalk until the Whitney notices their work. But artists touch every single thing that is manufactured, produced, or sold across the world. And so just keep those options open because that job will appear for you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, we got a question from somebody in the panel discussion. Can you guys comment on the benefits of having an artistic or creative mindset, even in fields that aren't thought of being necessarily like artistic, like research, science, math, anything like etc.?
I can talk a little bit to that. So in my experience, actually being in an engineering program right now, a lot of what my work does in research, even if I wanted to be a straight up mechanical engineer, which I don't, in order to communicate my work to people and to the public in general, I need to be able to be artistic and to be cognizant of design in order to do that. Even if it's just designing your PowerPoints, there are a lot of engineers who don't know how to design a PowerPoint to convey what they're trying to convey to people correctly. So it could be PowerPoints, it could be videos, it could be media. And it's also just generally like people don't think of engineering as creative often enough. I think I'm constantly explaining to psychologists that you can't use engineering people as a control for creativity because engineers are very creative. You have to be to solve the problems that we're faced with. And so, it's very important to have that creative mindset, regardless of where you're applying it. It will come up one time or another, and whether it's something you do yourself or you outsource to somebody else, it's going to be relevant.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anybody who would like to add on to that question, or?
Well, we certainly hope the medical researchers today are going to be creative and come up with a solution, as well as the economists, what's that word? Those in finance will come up with ways to solve the problems that the world is facing today.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. Is there anyone who else would like to add on to that one? Or we did get a few more questions in the panel chat. If you guys just want me to ask those, but if you guys feel like you want to add on to that, or if we're ready for another question. Okay. The next question in the panel chat that someone asked is, do any of the panelists or you guys have any work-based learning or internships or co-op opportunities for high school students, or suggestions on how to find like internship or anything along those lines?
So I would say Buffalo Art Studio is always looking for interns. Not now, currently. We're closed. But when we do reopen, we have a pretty healthy collection of interns. We roll through spring, summer, winter, and fall terms. But there's so many museums and galleries and nonprofit spaces. If you're looking for internships in Buffalo, Western New York specifically, just look on the website. Usually all the information is right there on the website, what they're looking for, how many spaces they have, what the terms are like. And I know with my organization, you can even say if you want to work in the marketing department, like with me, or in education with the education director, you get lots of one-on-one time, which is what I found to be working with younger people very influential. And I've seen people change because of the internship work that they do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
I know that I've taken high school students from Mr. Turton that are kind of interested in teaching art or working with kids. So I've had actual high school students come into my classroom every day, like during their fourth block, and do stuff with my room. I also take student teachers whenever Buffalo has them, but I can't even tell you how many student teachers over the years. I think it's vital. I always open up my room to anybody that wants to come in or even do observation hours, just to even see what it's like and see if they want to do it, because that's how you learn. Like, you have to be in it, you have to be doing it, you have to see it. And I wouldn't have been able to do what I do without being able to be in classrooms all the time and actually being able to teach with somebody and seeing how they do it. So I think most of us would be willing, to at least have somebody come and talk if we can't take internships for some reason, to even be able to share experience with them.
All right, thank
Just
you.
ask.
Is there anyone else who would like to add on, or we can move on to our next question?
I could add on to that. So I currently don't accept interns, but I'd be more than happy to help anybody, just because I'm not working at the moment because of COVID. But if anyone wanted to email me, I'd be happy to help out. But the reason I got into photography or knew that wedding photography was for me is because I actually shadowed, I'm not sure if anyone knows Andy Buscemi. He used to be a music teacher at Alden. He's now a wedding photographer, and I connected with him. I know, like, such a switch, but I shadowed him one day, and he let me come to a wedding with him, and I got to see, like, it's not until you, like, immerse yourself in the community that you're interested in that you know if it's actually for you. Like, I started going to local workshops and local get-togethers, and just to see if it really was for me, and that's how I found the connection with that. So I'd be happy to help anyone or answer any questions if they reached out. So.
All right, thank you. That's awesome. Is there anyone else who would like to add on? All right, we can move on to the next question. Okay, what is the biggest challenge or challenges of being in the art field in today's world?
I can touch on that again. My biggest challenge right now is my career is considered non-essential, and it's actually illegal for me to work right now. And that was a really hard pill to swallow when this whole COVID thing started. And wedding photography is non-essential, but I think the only type of photography right now is allowed is journalism, and it's very specific. So that's the hardest thing right now. You just have to realize that as an artist, especially if you're self-employed, that you have to really get that business part of it down and make sure you have savings and just stuff to make you secure during these times. But other than that, I'd say another challenge is being taken seriously sometimes, because people are like, oh, you're a photographer, I have a camera too. So is a lot. There's a lot that goes behind it. So I'd say those are some of the challenges. I always followed up with explaining to them that, yeah, all my education and training and stuff like that played into it. But yeah, so those are some of the current challenges.
All right, thank you. I heard somebody was trying to say something when Val was.
Yeah,
so-
this is Mike Best. I can add to that. There's a couple things. So I'm the polar opposite of what her problem is. I'm deemed an essential worker because I work in the food industry. So I'm expected to come to work even though there's, certain circumstances that some days I'd rather not be here. And I could work from home, but because we're essential, they really would like us here in the offices. I handle a lot of charity stuff too, that we're trying to get some stuff to food banks and different things. So I kind of have to come in. One of the biggest challenges that I've found as an artist is commanding a good price for your product because of the saturation in the market and the technology. And what I've seen firsthand, because I also have a freelance design business, is so many people are going overseas to places and dealing with print shops like Vistaprint, and they're outsourcing logos to Sri Lanka and Manila and all these places that have artists. They can buy the artwork for pennies on the dollar. So it really hurts the American market, and technology has made all those advancements possible. But at the same time, it's cut a lot of work out for artists here in the U.S.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else who'd like to add on? Shoot. Sorry, I lost my questions. Okay, we can move on to the last question I have for you all today, and then so the last question, it's the simplest question, is why do you enjoy being an artist so much?
I'll hop in. There's something about going to work every day and knowing that not only what you're doing is impactful for you yourself, but it's impactful for like your community and those who are around you. So whether like Val, who's a wedding photographer, like she's creating those memories for people the rest of their lives, and like as a museum educator, just being able to know like maybe the kids who are with me in the museum, maybe I'm that little spark or something that they're going to take with them. So it's something that is just really exciting to know like what you're doing is something that is a bigger impact than you might even realize.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Yeah,
I would say, go ahead.
I was just going to say, utilizing your artistic talents satisfies an internal personal need to be creative. So you're not only sharing with the world, but you're satisfying something within yourself. And it's to me, it's calming. It's I could work a very long day when I come up with a really creative thing that I know I'm going to be able to share with people. It makes me feel good.
All right, thank you for that. Someone was.
Yeah, I would just say being an artist for me is constant discovery. I feel like I'm always learning things about how to make art or how to grow my practice, or seeing my practice evolve into curating or writing poetry and getting published. So for me, it's this cyclical thing of arriving at yourself. And in doing that, you build these networks and communities of people who support you and you support them. And it's a really beautiful, like, boots on the ground ecology of people supporting each other and holding space for one another. So that's what I really love about it.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else?
Well, I'll just add to that. I feel the community is so incredible. If you're immersed in the arts, you have an opportunity to meet some of the most extraordinary, generous, fascinating people. And it's just been a real joy for me.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for that. Is there anyone else who would like to add?
I'll just have one little thing. I'll be really fast, so somebody else tried to break in there, but I'll do what, build on what Lindsay said. I was thinking about what I miss most about being home during this period of time, and it's these little kids. They're called the Willie Hutch Jones kids. They come once a week. They're pre-K through grade 2. They swagger around the museum like they own it. They say the most curious things about the works of art. And they're our regulars, and I miss them so much because, as Lindsay said, we certainly serve them, but they sure fill up my soul.
That is awesome. That truly is. Thank you for that. Someone was trying to butt in when.
Yeah, I was. I mean, if you're asking why I like to be an artist, it kind of goes along with everyone saying, because I love to create. It's so it's just, there's something there about constantly creating and coming up with ideas. And once you start to dive into it, I think Michael started to say something about this, where it's very soothing, it's relaxing, it kind of feeds your soul as you start to draw and create, and you lose track of time. Like sometimes hours could go by because you're so in the flow. But when I think about why I chose being an art teacher, is there's all these perfect, there's moments of chaos. I teach little kids, there's constant moments of chaos, but there's these perfect little moments in time that you just want to savor and hold on to forever. There's those moments that it comes a couple times a year where the sun is just shining just right. And there's music playing. You look around your room and every single little kid, there could be 27 of them, and they're all painting. You look down and all the little heads are down, their hands are going. And it's those moments where you're like, this is why I'm here. Or that moment when you take them to the museum and a kid that never speaks just can't stop raising their hand and running up to the pieces in the Burchfield Penney or the Albright-Knox. And you're just thinking, this kid is now saying something deep and connecting it to society. They're 7. Or those other moments where I'm getting pictures nonstop since we're doing homeschooling, and you see the little kids holding up their artwork and their huge smile, and you see the little 2-year-old brother or sister next to them with their own copy. So it's those shining moments when you're an art teacher where you're like, wow, they love it. They get it too. It's those moments. And I'm babbling, so I'll stop.
That's fine. Thank you. That really is awesome. We do have one more question that just got put in the chat really fast because I do realize we are almost out of time. At Alden High School, most students we have the Adobe Suite program, and Mr. Turton was wondering which Adobe product is the most useful and use as all the Alden students are now home and they can explore on their Surface Pros during this quarantine.
I can touch base on that. So for wedding photography, I use Adobe Lightroom all the time. I used to just do it in Photoshop, but it would take so much longer. But I do use Photoshop and Lightroom hand in hand. No doubt those are the top 2 that I use. So.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Well, I use Photoshop quite a bit to edit my artwork after I get it scanned in, because I do traditional stuff. So I do colored pencils mostly. I just started an oil painting a couple of weeks ago for the first time in 10 years. I forgot how much I loved it. So, but I've been doing mostly watercolor and colored pencil recently. And I scan them in, and I have to go through and just kind of, sometimes when you scan it, you get those little hairs, or there's a stray mark or something. And, I use just Photoshop, basic Photoshop, to edit those little things out, maybe change the color to make sure that they match for when I'm making my prints up. But I have the whole suite, and I do use them occasionally, but Photoshop is the big one that I use mostly.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else real fast? Because we are almost out of time here.
I'll just throw in a quick word for Illustrator too. I know for product design, it's touching them up in Photoshop, but then sending everything into Illustrator to do your final layout. So Photoshop and Illustrator are my 2 go-tos.
All right, thank you. So that is all the time we have today. I would personally like to thank all the panelists and everybody here today. It was truly awesome hearing from all of you, and I know everybody in here, all the students and high schoolers and even some teachers really appreciated hearing what you guys had to say. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us
Thank you for
here.
having me.
Be well, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
I
That's
just want to give a
fantastic.
quick shout out to Amanda, Val, and Michael. It took me a minute before I recognized you, but I could see clearly works of art that you created in my classroom. Val, I remember your sneakers vividly.
Yep, I
I
still
love
have
your
it.
horses. And Mike,
I got a big one behind me.
and Mike, it seems to me you did a lot of cartooning
I did a
while you were
lot
in
of
my classroom.
superhero stuff and a lot of a lot of bold colors and things. It was very nice to see you, Mary.
It's great seeing you, Mike. Glad to know you're in the arts. You're always really talented.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Nice job, Dylan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too, Ms. Rapini.
Nicely done, man.